Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sports, live match preview of tomorrow night's UEFA Europa League final between Villarreal of La Liga and Manchester United of the Premier League. And probably by this time tomorrow night, we should roughly know who will be lifting the trophy in Gdansk in Poland, which, quite frankly, it's such a shame it wasn't just down the road, because I would have loved to have gone with many other fans and travelled and take a few days off, but the restrictions and all that just makes it very awkward indeed. So whoever got a ticket, especially Sir Alex Ferguson, I'm very jealous of you all right now. I'm alongside my fellow United Red Devil of Darren Hughes, who's just come back from work, so he'll be very excited, I'm sure, because Darren, United have a chance of winning the first trophy in 4 years. I can't believe it's been 4 years, and the last one was the Europa League.
Yeah, but I think more importantly than that, 4 years is a long time, especially for us not to win. But I think more importantly, it'd be the first trophy under the leadership of Ollie, and that needs to come soon. So I really hope that we can tick that box tomorrow.
This is the thing, this is what I'm so nervous about. It's the fact that even if we do have another full season of Ollie next year, you just want to at least go into next season with him having a trophy, don't you? Because, I've been defending Ollie since day one. Yes, some people can say, well, that's because he's a legend at the club. Of course you're going to back him while we don't think he's a good manager. But this is why we want him to do so well. As well as he was as a player, you want him to leave a good legacy as a manager. And the progress is there, but a trophy's a must.
Absolutely. And I have feared with Ollie, we seem to be going through a cycle of we perform really well for X amount of weeks, which is what happened when he first came in. We beat PSG, and then we go on a equally consistent poor run, and it seems to just rotate. As soon as he needs a result to keep his job, he gets it. We go on a bit of a run, and then we fall off a cliff. But this season, the fact that we've got to a final. I've always talked about that we need to see a progression, and we have seen that now through Ollie's leadership. We were third last season. We're second now. Last season, I think we were in 83 semi-finals, and we lost all 83 of them. But we finally made
85.
It to 85. Yeah, okay. But we're finally through into a final, and I think for his sake. And all of the fans, it'd be good to sign this season off with a win, with a convincing win, especially if you think that maybe it may be De Gea's last game. It might not be, but it may be. It may be Pogba's last game. It might not be, but there's question marks there. It may be Mata's last game
on the bench.
There's question marks there. Well, yeah. So. Not just for Ollie, but for the squad and the fans, it'd be really nice to get this one over the line.
I think this is the thing. I'm about a week ago, I was quite calm about this final, but when it gets closer, you just start to think of the bad situations that could happen. Like, we got a manager of Unai Emery who's won the Europa League 3 times with Sevilla, and actually this will be his 5th final because he was Arsenal manager when they lost to Chelsea in 2019 in a very empty Baku stadium in Azerbaijan. Yes, UEFA, what the hell? But here we are in Gdansk this year, and I just feel maybe the experience of Emery might win him over Solskjaer in this preview.
Oh, so what? So I'm confused. What you're saying? You don't think Ollie will do it, or you think that
no.
As the underdog, he'll.
I think there will be some people looking at it and think, yes, United are in the final. On paper, they should win. But you're up against a manager who's done it so many times before. And he did it with a Spanish club with Sevilla with this tournament.
If we even go back to last season in this competition, we were against Sevilla in the semis, and we were favourites again to win that whole competition.
Yeah.
And we lost unexpectedly to Sevilla. Well, perhaps it wasn't that unexpected because we lost to them season before. Was it as well?
I can't remember.
But so just because we're favourites doesn't mean, it's United, it's Ollie. And especially if we look at the last few games of the season, granted, we weren't really playing for anything. But the last good game that we had was possibly the last game of the season, but we were playing all of our reserves. Which member of that team will start tomorrow? Maybe Baye, maybe Axel. That's really it. But the last time the majority of our first team played, we didn't play that well for 2 or 3 games. And with Maguire injured, that's probably if he doesn't start, that's another very worrying.
I mean, they've just had training this evening, I think. So I think we'll find out either tonight or probably tomorrow morning, because Luke Shaw put out, there was a quote from him earlier today, and it was to just basically say, he'll come out training, we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, if he's not up to it, we've got to forget about him taking part. So I honestly don't know what I'd do if I was Ollie, because I don't know. I hope Maguire's actually clean as, fresh and clean in a way. Like he's not going to have any rusty moments on the pitch if he does start, because there's always those moments of they start some of these players just because they're kind of there, but you worry it's still going to damage the game.
If you remember the Tottenham Liverpool final of the Champions League, Harry Kane had been injured for a long time and he wasn't expected to come back. He came back and he wasn't as sharp, and it might have been better served him coming on 60 minutes.
Yeah, and he put Lucas Moura on the bench, who got them into the final. So I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, so there is two trains of thought, but I definitely think that it's crazy. Like at the start of the season, we were saying that maybe Maguire's not good enough, and now we're saying our defense without him looks appalling. But
yeah,
I don't think that I was ever one that said that he wasn't good enough. But the defensive partnership that he was in didn't complement each other, and I still stand by that. They have gotten better, but now you remove him out of that, you're going to have a defensive partnership who haven't played together. So it will be Lindelof, and either you would suspect Baye or Axel. And who would you prefer to partner?
I'm more confident with Twanzebe at the moment.
Oh yeah,
because of that Leicester game. But there's something about Twanzebe, but he hasn't fully convinced me yet. But I just think, will he go with experience more than a younger face in defence? And that's why I think Baye will get the edge instead of Axel Twanzebe. I think Lindelof, I'll be surprised if Lindelof doesn't start at all. Lindelof's been our main centre-back throughout the season, so I'm sure he'll be there. I think you'll have De Gea in goal, because Henderson played on Sunday. And we kind of knew that, I think, Darren, didn't we, when we played that second leg against Roma, that it's, De Gea deserves this final, if this is to be his final game. And I hope that if this is to be his final game, I really hope that this is ending it with a trophy. There's rumours of him going to Roma, but apparently Mourinho has come out with it, but people are denying it, so I'm not sure. Right. We'll find out later on in the summer, I'm sure. But I think for me, your fullbacks are sorted as long as Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka are fit, which, by the way, Wan-Bissaka not making the England squad, well, screw you, Gareth. Screw you, because you have missed out there. But I don't know, there's other good ones available. But I don't know. What do you think of Baye? I really like him, but he's been making a bit of mistakes as well recently. I can't put my finger on it.
So my whole opinion on Baye and Axel, their positionings, from what I've seen, how they read the game is quite good. They seem to pop up in the right spot at the right time, and they're both fast. But their distribution, there's too many wayward passes where they just boot it and it goes straight to an all position.
Yeah.
So I think that playing the way that Ollie likes to play, where we play out from the back, they worry me. Where Maguire is the main man. You give him the ball and he will drive forward. Lindelof can do that to an extent. He's much better than Baye and Axel. But so if they were partnering Maguire, I would take either. I would, because they can both complement Maguire with the speed.
Yeah.
But when you play them both together, they lose the ball way too much. When you pair one of them with Lindelof, I think you're right. I think you will go with Baye just for that experience, and he's older. Personally, I'd probably have more of an investment in Tuanzebe as, perhaps the future, and give him a shot. He did a great job against PSG.
He did.
He played well. Yeah, he played well against Leicester. So I have a feeling that he would thrive on the pressure of a final.
Yeah.
So that's who I would choose to partner. However, if he then does a defensive mistake, it will all be Ollie's fault because he didn't choose experience. So it's really, he's in a rock and a hard place.
I think this is the thing with Tuanzebe, where after that PSG game, I honestly thought, start him. Maguire's found his next teammate, and he didn't. And he never played him for a good few weeks until his next game, which I think was a League Cup game. But I thought, if someone does that at PSG as well, to help you get a win against a team that had Mbappe and Neymar and Di Maria up front. And by the way, United only conceded that night because of a Martial own goal. Yeah, who's that? I don't know who he is anymore. But it's just... that's the only problem I got with Ollie. He makes some strange decisions, and it is kind of like, really? You're going to do that? Okay, but...
Well, I think that's the issue that we've got in now. Ollie seems to be very stubborn, where he trusts his first team.
Yes.
And he picks them
Especially
religiously.
Fred.
There's not been a huge amount of rotation. So now that Maguire is injured, any centre-back partnering that we put in there won't have experience of playing with each other.
Yeah.
And that's a worry. But maybe we should give Ollie the benefit of the doubt, because Axel, when we saw him against PSG, his main role was to track the runner's speed and be in the right and get his positioning right, which he did. But now that we've seen a little bit more of him playing out from the back, his ability there hasn't progressed yet. I'm hoping it will. So maybe Ollie saw him in training, go, well, I want to play out from the back, and at the moment Axel can't do that. Lindelof and Maguire can. So those are the two that I'm going to, start. So yeah. I'm going to have to give Ollie the benefit of the doubt of actually he sees them week in and week out. Maybe there's a reasoning why we didn't see Axel for quite a long time afterwards. Why we haven't seen Donny van de Beek. Although I must say, him in that sort of more deep role, not really a true number 6, but more of a defensively minded box to box. He needs to improve his positioning to break up play, which is what Fred does really well. But I do like him in that role. His distribution and finding a pass is so much better. And he
looks more confident.
Yeah, well, Fred's first touch is abysmal.
I worry he's going to lose our final. I'm sorry, I do. I really do. He's the one player I'm worried about.
But the thing that also gets me with Ollie is he always waits too long to make a change. He'll wait until the 80th minute, which is why against
David
PSG, when Fred was on a yellow, I was like, get him off. Get him off, or he'll get
sent off, and that happened. Yeah. I never understood that, because I remember at the end of the interval, you'd have thought straight away.
The interval? Are we in a theatre now?
Am I the only one who says that? I love saying it.
It's half time, mate.
It's half time. All right, in America, it's halftime show. Right. But yeah, I just thought, we'd hear the commentator and go, oh, there's a change in. It's like, yep, Fred coming off for Matic or someone. It's like, no, there's no change at all, okay? But yeah, there has been moments of Ollie where if he just didn't have some weird decisions, I think he'd get more respect. But progress is there. I'm also thinking about the front three, which surely Cavani starts, Rashford on the left, and Greenwood on the right. What's your thinking behind that?
So, if we were manager, that's what we would do.
I think one day us two could be managers. I think we could. Why not?
Yeah, but two things won't won't happen. You won't become manager, and I won't become manager. So that's the first thing, and the second thing is that front three won't start.
Do you not think?
Pogba
No.
Pogba is going to start on that left hand side.
So do you think
Which
Rashford's
means,
on the bench?
well, I think Rashford might start off on the bench because Greenwood is better than Rashford on that right, and that's no disrespect
Yeah.
to Rashford. I said in one of the early sort of post-match things that I did for you, why play Rashford on the right? He's a great player coming in from that left, but on the right he is ineffective because it's not his natural position. So for the final, I think we'll see Pogba, we'll see Cavani, we'll see Greenwood, and then we'll see Rashford come in sort of 70 minutes just to give us some pace. Probably McTominay will come off. Pogba will drop down to the midfield, and we'll see Rashford. And also, don't forget, Rashford has been nursing an injury for most of this second half of this season.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something there that will see. Has something happened to your camera?
No, it's all right. It's a different camera. They can't see that. It's.
All right, okay.
I should have warned you. It's all good. But yeah, I mean, Cavani, what a season. First half of the season, stats would say he didn't score many goals, but I think he was just getting used to it. You know, new club, new football, and also he hadn't played for many months because he was out at PSG for a good while since last February, I think it was.
Wasn't he injured as well at one point?
I think he might have been. Yeah, I can't remember now. I mean, the season's been so crazy in terms of so much detail.
I think it was fitness or an injury thing, and then he also had the ban. Yeah, he had a few match bans because of the
the comment,
Instagram thing,
yeah, which was a load of bollocks. But yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, his second half of the season, it just feels like the Cavani that's what we hoped for. He just scores for fun, and his existence is amazing.
There was a distinct change where before that, when things maybe weren't going as well, all of the news report was he wanted to go home to South America. He wasn't going to renew his contract. He was going. As soon as he sort of started banging them in for fun, the whole team sort of grew around him. He became the focal point of our attack and really started more than he missed on the bench. And then suddenly he wants to stay and he's renewed his contract. So I think that is a clear evidence of how his season has progressed and how important he is now to our first team.
Exactly. And that semi-final, both legs, just absolutely incredible. I think that's the best we've had from Cavani. I mean, amazingly, he's not scored a hat-trick yet. He's always got two, but hasn't scored a hat-trick. Could tomorrow night be it? I'd love... I said that to my dad yesterday, because my dad, he's watched football for over 50 years, and he'll say to me that Cavani's one of the best things he's ever seen as a centre-forward. And that takes quite a lot to impress someone like my dad, because he's seen some good players over the years. But I think it just shows how excited it is to still have someone like him up front when, in a way, he reminds me of Zlatan so much, just that existence. And people know him before he gets onto that pitch, but the defence still don't know what to expect. And I think it's that whole adaptation they have towards a football game. It's absolutely incredible. But I did say to my dad, hat-trick, and that should do it. That's the way to seal the season.
Well, I think there's more that he gives them. So he's very talented, and he spearheads our attack so well, and he comes deep and he picks up the ball and he breaks a play and he moves us forward, which is great. But do you agree with me that just his presence, almost, well, exactly like Zlatan, that leadership in the dressing room, that experience being there, everyone has upped their game since. And
I think I think he's literally one of those who will have an input here and there and tell you exactly what you should do instead of another scenario. But I also think that the moment he would have walked into that changing room, I'm sure Greenwood, the likes of him, and Greenwood's got better, I think, with Cavani around, because Cavani, you can see Cavani, it's like it's his son. There was that moment when Greenwood got pushed by that Roma
Oh, I
player,
love
and
that.
Cavani just
Yeah.
went, "You what, mate?" And I was just like, Cavani, don't get sent off because we got a final coming up. But he just, and then even when Greenwood scored a goal on the pitch at Tottenham, I think it was, and Cavani was on the bench, I think, he just applauds properly in the stands, and you can just see the admiration Cavani has for Greenwood. But I think Cavani has a lot to thank for making Greenwood so good. And I do think people like Greenwood, when Cavani first walked into that changing room, would have been stargazing, thinking, I grew up watching this guy. Now he's my teammate.
Well, if you think pre-Bruno, we looked like a squad of players. And then when Bruno came in, we started to look more like a team. He sort of pulled people. I still remember, I can't remember the game, but the shots of there was a goal and Bruno berates Lindelof on the pitch and Lindelof looks annoyed.
Oh, Seville. That was Seville. Yeah.
And I think that was, that was evidence that actually now the level had been pushed up. Like, you had to perform or you were held responsible. And then now Cavani is coming and it's feeling more like a team, a family, like a proper club, a squad of where everyone is playing for each other and not just the Pogba show who would hold it for far too long and not push it on.
And he's performed, hasn't he?
Well,
he has.
But I think so. I'm going to say something controversial now.
Oh, I like it.
I still think what United, yes, we need a defender, we need a defensive midfielder. I would take another attacking option, but if we don't get one, then that's fine. But I think we need to move Pogba on. I think we need to sell him now, because otherwise, if we keep him, we're going to have to give him more money than he's worth, or he's going to go on a free.
And imagine if he wins the Euros as well, he'll want more money.
The issue I have with Pogba is he's a great player. He is a great player, but he only wants to be a great player when the team is doing well. I would prefer to have a team of Gary Nevilles who live and breathe for that club and perform 8 out of 10 every week. Maybe not have the talent that Pogba has, but gives everything every game, which I think Cavani gives us. I think Bruno gives us, but I think he's been played way too much. The last few games he's gotten lost because we expect too much. We can't rotate him. I think Rashford gives us that. He will give us everything. And I just look at Pogba and I go, yeah, if the team is doing well, Pogba will perform. And since Cavani, since Bruno, Pogba has become a big part of that team. I'd prefer to cash in now, get some money for him, and get a player like an Ander Herrera. Let's be honest.
He wore the badge.
He wasn't a Paul Scholes.
No,
he wasn't a Roy Keane. But like those two players, he gave 110% every game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would prefer to have that than someone like Pogba who can win you a game when he can be bothered.
This is the thing. If this was like his first season, this season, then yeah, I would say Pogba's looking good. He's slowly getting there. But we've had him for 5 years. And if anything, under Pogba, we've had no progress, really. We've not become a team with a maestro midfield that can control the game and beat all the big teams. And sadly, Pogba has not performed. Look at the Liverpool game recently. Again, where was Pogba? And I know people can say, well, they were tired. Well, Pogba didn't play in the game against Leicester a couple of days before. So Pogba was non-existent. And I completely agree, because he was starting to buy me a little bit. I was starting to get sold by Pogba. But sadly, I just think you've got to look at the last 5 years and think, why now is it happening? And I do think because there's a transfer window about to open. So I completely agree. Sell him now when you can get a lot of money until he gets too old and he's not going to be worth the money he was when we bought him, maybe. And just get someone else in. I still like the look of Grealish, Jack Grealish or Declan Rice. English, again, I don't know if they would do it for United, but if they've got the sort of attitude like Maguire and Bruno Fernandes and Cavani and Rashford and Greenwood, I don't think you can go wrong.
I think the other benefit of getting someone else in instead of Pogba is Pogba's been there and he's lived through the transition of Jose and Oli, and he's seen managers come and go. Like when Sir Alex K came in, there was still a transition where the players that he had weren't really performing the way that he wanted to.
And he changed it, didn't he?
He did, but it took time for those players to adapt and to fully buy in. So I think if Pogba goes, you get someone fresh who has been bought in and is 100% the Ollie way. That can only be good. Now I'd love Declan Rice because I think that's where we need to strengthen. But he was a Chelsea fan when he grew up, and there's been interest there. So if you give him the choice, he's going to want to go to Chelsea. Stay in London,
and they've got the money, no problem.
Yeah, so I'd love him, but that's not gonna happen. Grealish, we've been linked with. My fear with Grealish is: would he be used to the best of his ability, or would he be bought like a Van der Beek, where, oh yeah, he's a great player, but Bruno still starts every game.
Yeah.
And we've got Pogba, so Pogba and Rashford has to fight out to the. So Grealish, we're going to stick you on the right, but then we're probably going to buy Sancho too, or not. And we've got Greenwood. I'd love him to come, and I'd love to find a way to play them all, but especially with those two defensive holding midfielders at the moment, where does he fit in?
This is it. There's half of me that thinks it won't work. And that's what I worry about. But I'd love to just see them do it and just see what happens. I think you've got to make the risks. And United have made worse risks. Schweinsteiger. I mean, Di Maria. I love the guy, but it was such an odd transfer. Victor Valdez.
On a free.
Radamel
Falcao.
Van Gaal's recruitment was so bad. I don't miss those days one bit.
Yeah, so yeah, we had Schneidlin too then for quite a long time, didn't we?
What did he even do? I still don't know what he does on a pitch. I feel like I would have done more than him, but yeah, that's just something for another day. I guess, but I think I don't know. Ahead of tomorrow though, what this is all about. What are you thinking? Because I know you'll be at work trying to watch it as well. So, do you think are you feeling the nerves already? Because I am.
Well, I'm gonna get home in time to watch the second half. The second half, I am nervous. I think with Maguire out of that defense, I think we can leak a goal or two. Another thing before we get on to this with the goalkeeper thing isn't it weird how fickle I'm going to say journalists are more than the United fans, because De Gea had, since the World Cup, he's got a mistake in him, granted, but he's been such a good servant for us.
Still solid, yeah.
And then suddenly the press and the fans were like, "Oh, get him out! We want Dean in." Blah blah blah. They get their wish. Dean has one bad game, and suddenly sell him, keep De Gea. I mean, how fickle can you be?
But, I mean, I don't know if you're like me, but even when De Gea made mistakes, yes, I was angry. But deep down, you think, look, mistake's a mistake. We all make them, no matter what our jobs are. But I look at the whole thing of people saying De Gea out. I was thinking, hang on a minute. It was for 3-4 seasons in a row. He was our player of the season.
Yeah.
And I just think, because of that loyalty and the fact that he could have gone to Real Madrid. I know people say fax machine didn't work. Well, at the end of the day, he didn't go. And I honestly, he could have gone on to better things. He could have won so many more trophies and won Champions Leagues with that Real Madrid team, regardless of who their goalkeeper was going to be. I just think De Gea would have done the job. I just think he deserves a bit more respect. And I understand with Dean Henderson coming in, you've got to keep him happy as well. But I look at it and think, well, maybe it's just bad timing. Just let him go. I don't know. Dean Henderson for me is a worry because the positioning in that Liverpool game and the AC Milan game makes me think you're not ready to be number one every game. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if we do keep both this season. Next season, because Henderson could just still learn a few more things from De Gea.
Yeah. Well, De Gea is not that old.
No, exactly. He's what, 29, 30? You know.
So I think De Gea is still our number one. So yeah, he has to start, and I think tomorrow will be interesting. Half of me is trying to appease sort of the worries where, well, last year it was the semis, so if we're now into the final, so that's progression. But actually, winning this, I think we need to win this. I think we should win this, and I think the squad as a whole need a win. The players that we have now need to get that winning mentality that one trophy should kickstart.
I want to see the second half of AC Milan against... I want us to do the second half of what we did in the first leg against Roma tomorrow night, which is go up front, put some pace in, which me and you keep stressing, get some pace going, because we then look really dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And look at that Teo Elanga goal the other day. Fantastic cross. But Elanga as well, what a finish. And he could have had 2 or 3 goals, actually. If and Daniel James could have had a goal as well as an assist. Sorry, it was Daniel James who crossed it, not Teo, sorry.
Yeah.
But, just this team... It's just I said it in January when we lost to City in the League Cup. We're nearly there. There just needs to be 1 or 2 things, like sorting out the pace. You've got a finisher now of Cavani. Give him the right ball, he will score. I just think we can. I'm going out there. I think we can thrash them because Villarreal were at Arsenal in the second leg. No goals were scored for them, but no goals were conceded. There's something about Villarreal where I think they'll want a low-scoring affair, while I think if United can get it right, it could be an absolute bloodbath. Again, though, it's just what I'm dreaming about.
Well, I mean, technically, I know it's in a neutral ground, but we're not at home, so we always do better away from
I'm glad
home.
it's not at Old Trafford. I've hated us at Old Trafford. We've been shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I completely agree. I'm quite nervous. I'm excited. Maguire lacking is, I think that will be the story, is how we defend. And if he's going to set up more defensively, that we're not going to do the runs in behind because we're scared about the counter attack, then I think that might be a boring game then. But yeah. I hope that we attack it.
Yeah, my only concern is Fred and the way we play from the back. I'd love it if De Gea, if he is in goal tomorrow, to just boot it up there in the field and no playing around, because this is the one game we can't afford a slip up. Simple as that. Just play your 90 minutes, do it in 90 minutes, and lift that trophy, and then party going back home to Manchester. Let's hope. That is hope. There's a few comments quickly before we go. Greg Livingstone says, I feel whoever scores first will win the game.
No. How many times have we conceded first, and that is the catalyst for us to actually play? So even if they get, as long as their goal is early enough, I'm not worried about that. It's if they get a goal in the 80th minute, then that would be more of a concern.
Greg Livingstone also says, do you both feel if Ollie does not win tomorrow, he's gone? No. I honestly think he has made progress regardless. He still needs another transfer window, which should hopefully be this summer in terms of the board actually backing him, and hopefully they do, because otherwise you're going to have more protests, I feel, after what's happened. But who else is there? I keep stressing this. Who else is there out there right now who will get given the chance and can also make the progress that Ollie has made? I honestly don't know who there is.
And Ollie now has had enough time that the structures that he wanted in place behind the scenes should start to now, come into fruition. So I think if we got rid of him now on the basis of, oh, we only finished second and got to a final, then that would be, you would be cutting off your nose to spite your face, because we'd have to start again from square one.
And I do think his encouragement at youth football is great to watch. Diallo getting in there, Pellistri hopefully he'll come back on loan and maybe start well, not start, but come from the bench maybe. We had a few kids play the other day, and Elanga's getting chances, Shorty's getting chances. This is the old United. This is Solskjaer lives and breathes Man United, and I feel that you have to get someone who's done it before at this club to carry it on. That's why I'll always believe in the whole Zidane effect and the Pep Guardiola effect when he was at Barcelona and Zidane at Real Madrid. They know the club. They know the identity. And I think Solskjaer has proven it to be a roller coaster. It's been up and down, but at the end of the day, progress has been made. And I think I just want on Thursday morning to wake up and literally have a picture of Solskjaer on my phone with the Europa League, just to go and use the caption of "and Solskjaer has won it," and it's like yes, please happen, which is a nice pun for the commentators to use if you're doing your research tonight. I'll take that fiver later on. Jamie Burgoyne says De Gea is yesterday's jam. Okay, don't know
because
about
he
that.
always falls face down. I don't understand.
Yeah, on the jam. Oh dear. We got Greg Livingstone saying Wan-Bissaka has been good for United defensively, but attacking is terrible. Yeah, he's getting there, but it's not as good.
He has improved in the attacking. I must say that. I think not that that's what this video is about, and I'm Welsh, so I don't really care about the England squad, but attacking wise on that right wing, England is spoilt for choice. But I think it's not. I think it's naive if you're playing, Germany or a Belgium, and if Maguire's still injured, wouldn't you want more defensive options? You've got the attack, but if you're playing a big team in a very important game, wouldn't you? And you nick a goal and you're 1-up, and it's the 60th, 70th minute and they're bombarding you, wouldn't you want an option just to bring in off the bench just to shore up the defense? But hey ho.
Wan-Bissaka, I feel like I can bet my house on him to make a firm tackle in a box, and he does it every time without fail. He's so good to watch with those tackles. Shahid Shah says, who will win the UEFA Europa League final, Jamie and Dan? Well, we're both hoping for a Man United win. Crystal Rose says Americans have that effect. I presume she means the South Americans with Edison Cavani. Hopefully he'll bring it home, and I hope that I've got a Uruguay flag somewhere around here if we win. I will fly that around the street. John Jones says if Man United don't win the Europa League this season, then Arsenal will have had a better season because they won a trophy. That is the Community Shield. Really?
Well,
really? Are we technically yes, but really?
No. Because then technically David Moyes would have won a trophy with us. So the Community Shield is the pre-season, and secondly, who's getting European football next season?
Exactly. While
Surely
Arteta,
that's more of a success.
Well, Arteta's got an ownership that the fans want gone as well, so it's not exactly going very well for Arsenal. Worst season ever, probably I've ever seen of Arsenal Football Club. People go on about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Go on about Arteta. I mean, come on, he needs more time, I think. But sorry, but managers in his position have been sacked from what he's done.
I think Ole's done really well, except for if you look at the teams locally that have brought back legends to manage, Arteta not doing that great. Frank didn't do overly well at Chelsea. And Ole, although there's been ups and downs, there seems to be a clear path.
Yeah.
Seems to be doing all right. So out of all of them, And I was tempted to mention, but Gerrard's done really well, but he's not a Rangers legend. That's comparing.
Could he do it at Liverpool?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
We'll
comparing
find out one
Frank
day, maybe.
at Derby. And to be fair, Frank at Derby, he didn't. All right,
He had
got
one
him to-
season. Yeah, he had one
yeah,
season.
and he got him to a playoff, which
Which
they didn't win.
Yeah, and he lost an FA Cup final as Chelsea manager as well. So he's actually not proven to win a trophy. But like I will say this now: if people actually really do their research on Solskjaer's management, he was at Mold, which people could go Norwegian league doesn't matter. Well, every league counts because you got to start somewhere. Mold were nearly rock bottom, and he turned it round and won a league with them, and he discovered Erling Haaland. So deserves a lot of credit, I think.
Here's a question. If you were offered, so let's say Cavani stays for another season, and you get offered Haaland or Kane, who do you go for and why?
Haaland because he's younger.
Yeah,
Haaland because he's more lethal. But Kane is a proven Premier League striker.
Not just that, but Kane is a leader.
He's elite, yes,
and we need that.
We need yeah.
If you look at all of the great players that we've bought, which have been flopped, because then again they're not. I think we need that leadership.
Yeah, especially when he played for England at the World Cup with Kane. He was the face, wasn't he? He was the man that would take the penalty, score a late goal against Tunisia, and you just felt that Kane effect. You just thought he's like the next Shearer, the next Rooney, the man that we all look up to, and he's done very well for England. Completely agree. The reason why I'd still say Haaland is just because of how deadly he is. I think he's more deadly than Kane, but again, who's more vocal? And I think Haaland will get there. He's very young though, so I think it's hard to compare sometimes when Kane's had a bit more experience and he's learnt to create that voice on the pitch and to get what he wants out of it. So either way, you can't go wrong with either. But the problem is, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg.
And if we've got Cavani and we've got the squad that we've got now, I much rather us strengthen the defensive midfield and central defence, spend the money there, than getting in a marquee striker. That said, I can see the Glazers dropping 100 million on Kane just to stop the protests.
Get the fans back, yeah.
Get the fans back, where actually that's not going to solve the issues in our squad.
Completely agree. It feels like the right chance for them to do it, but we'll find out in the summer. There's one other thing I was going to mention about Ollie again, folks. Okay, you can say he got sacked at Cardiff. Well, he got the job with less than half a season to go to try and keep them up. So, come on.
Was that his first job?
That was his first job in English football. He got given a part-time gig, if you ask me, a quick gig there, and then you're done in the summer. Oh, right, okay, I'll just take the paycheck. So, I think Solskjaer's done a lot better than some people think. Anyway, thanks, Darren, for your time tonight. Really appreciate it, my friend, after coming from work as well. Thank you to all who's been watching and for commenting on our live chat page tonight. If you haven't yet, do subscribe to the channel. And of course, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on this channel, we'll have our live watch along. Who knows? I might be on via the pub. We'll find out via my phone. Depends how many drinks I've had. But let us know who will win the Europa League. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Let's Talk Sport. Thank you for watching.